Now check this out. I want to talk about why there are all these different numbers of ways to play different numbers of notes. I want to talk about why there's 3 different ways to play 3 notes. So I'm going to start with the major scale on 1 string. Here's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 1 again. Let's talk about some things that are really cool. You may be familiar with these different ideas or concepts. One of which is that you can go past the 1. So I could say here's 1, there's 2, there's a 3, there's a 4, there's a 5, there's a 6, there's a 7, there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. You can go up past the 1. And you can move it around. Oh, actually, you could move it around. Wait a minute. Yeah, so wait, hold on a second. I could take this 1. So far I've been playing the 1 starting here on the open E string. So that there's a 1 right there. I can take 1 and say, you know what, I don't want it to be here at the nut. Because that's kind of what it means when you play an open string. You're making this the fret that you don't have to press. If I start here on this 3rd fret, also known as a G, I say, you know what, I'm going to start here and call this a 1. Here's a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5, and a 6, and a 7, and a 1. I can keep going to 2, and a 3, and a 4, and I have enough frets to do 5. I can do a harmonic to get 6, then bring it back down 5, 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1, and a 7, and a 6, and a 5, and a 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1. And then if I say, okay, here's a 1, I can now go down below that 1, say here's 1, here's this negative number. No, it's not a negative number. What was it up here? It was 1, goes down to 7, right? Okay, so here's 1, goes down to 7. Kind of sounds like the same thing to me. And then after that I can go down to 6. Alright, cool. So we just said that we can go past 1 and we can take 1 and move it around to new frets. Very useful because we could take that and apply it to any one of the mini scales that we talked about before. Like say 3 different ways to play 3 notes. I could take 3 ways to play 3 notes and start them right here. This is my 1. I'm going to go a whole step to 2. Then I'm going to go another whole step to 3. And that's 3 notes major. 1 and a 2 and a 3. Then after that, you know what? I want to review what those other 2 ways to play 3 notes are. I'm going to say here's 1, there's 2, there's a flat 3. Okay, that's what that looks like. Then I say, okay, here's a 1 and a flat 2 and a flat 3. That's going to be that Phrygian scale. Alright, cool. Phrygian. Yeah, Phrygian. I want to review those again just so I could see the shapes on the fretboard just one more time. So here's major, minor, Phrygian. Cool. Alright, now I'm going to go back to the E major scale and I'm going to do something. I'm going to play it first this way so we can hear all the right notes. Cool. Now I'm going to go back and do that again. I'm going to say same notes but in a different order. It goes like this. Pretty cool. I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to slow it down so you can hear what my thoughts are behind this process. So here's... Sounds like I'm doing things in groups of 3, like there's 3 notes at a time that I'm kind of thinking through. I'm saying, okay, here's 1, 2, 3, then I go back and then it's 2, 3, 4, and then I keep going. It's going to be 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, and a 5, 6, 7, and a 6, 7, 1, and a 7, 1, 2, and a 1, 2, 3. I like saying numbers in rhythm, so forgive me if it sounds anything other than enjoyable. Alright, so that's really cool. I like the way that sounds. And wait a minute, hold on a second. If I take a look at that first group of 3, it looks like 1, 2, and 3 from a major scale. Then if I move up to the next group of 3, which is like 3 notes, but instead of starting on 1, I'm starting on 2, I say, okay, here's... You know what, that doesn't really look like 3 notes major, if I think back to what I played before. That kind of looks like I'm playing the same shape as 3 notes minor. Like I could call, even though this is a 2, I could call this note a 1 and say that's 1, and that's a 2, and then that's a half step, so that's a flat 3. So okay, there's 1, 2, flat 3. And then if I go to the next group, it would be 3, 4, and 5. Funny, that really looks a lot like what I was playing as a Phrygian before. Oh, cool. So there's Phrygian. And then after that, I do 4, 5, and 6, looks like major, as does 5, 6, and 7. And then if I take a look at 6, 7, and 1, oh, that's minor. And then 7, 1, and 2, looks like Phrygian. And then I'm back to 1, 2, and 3, which is where I started over there. And like, it's almost as if there's only those 3 different ways to play 3 notes if I move 3 notes through a major scale, so that they kind of just move through and start on each note in the scale. That's pretty cool. I wonder what happens if I take 4. So if I take, that looks like major, that's 4 notes starting on 1. If I say, okay, here's 2, that's like 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if I think about it, that looks like a 1, a 2, and a flat 3, and then a regular 4. That looks just like 4 notes minor. Then if I keep going, sorry, spaced out there for a second. That was a Phrygian, right? Yeah, it was a Phrygian. It starts like 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like there's 1, flat 2, flat 3, and 4. And then if I go to the 4, it looks like it was a major before, right? 4, 5, and 6. But wait, that 7 shows up. And that looks to me like 4, 5, 6, 7 could be the exact same thing as 1, 2, 3, and sharp 4. It's like going back and forth between different numbers, like whether I'm starting on a different note than 1, or if I'm starting on 1 and changing the other note to match what I'm playing. It's maybe a little confusing at first, but it's something that, even if it makes a little bit of sense, it's something that you could take and practice and make accessible to you. Just like 5, 6, 7, 1 looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say that's major, and then 6, 7, 1, 2 looks like a minor, and then 7, 1, 2, 3 looks like another Phrygian, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. We're back where we started again. It turns into, you only see those 4 different ways to play 4 notes when you move through a major scale. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each one of those 4 ways to play 4 notes: Lydian, major, minor, and Phrygian, which if I cover up all of these, or erase it, I don't really feel like erasing it, but if I erase everything past 4, you're still only going to see Lydian, major, major again, minor, minor again, Phrygian, and Phrygian again, just like that. Cool. So then what happens if I say like 5? Yeah, same thing for 5. If I take 5 ways to play 5 notes through the scale, if I take a 5-note pattern moving through the scale, it's going to give you the different 5 ways to play 5 notes. Same thing with 6, and yes, 7. So if I were to say, how many scales do you see here? And you were to say, Justin, I see 7 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I would say, yeah, you're like half right. And that's because they're also really just one scale. This is only one scale, but starting on the different notes in the scale. If I start on 1, it's going to look like, well, the major scale. But if I start on 2, it's not going to look quite like the major scale. Like, I'll give you a for instance. I'll start on E, and instead of calling it 1, I'm going to call it 2, and proceed to 3, and then 4, which is still going to be a half step. And then from 4 to 5, and so on, 5 to 6, 6, 7, 7, 1, 1 to 2 again. So here's 2. Wait, let me get my pick oriented. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. Here's 6. Here's 7. Here's 1. Here's 2. That right there was one of these. Part of me doesn't want to tell you which one it is, because there might be useful information in you figuring that out yourself. But I feel like a punk. I'm such a punk sometimes. All right, so yeah, what happens if I start on 3? Here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. That's one of those. Here's 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these scales are just the major scales starting on different notes. I hope that was very helpful. I hope you enjoyed the entire series. I hope that this is inspiring even just a little bit. I hope, where's the word I'm looking for? Curiosity. I hope it piques your curiosity, and I hope you get a lot out of it. So thank you for watching, and take care.